In a vast underground chamber buried deep within what was once called Asia, the first human to wake in nearly 1,000,000 years opened her eyes. Her name was Yumha, and as consciousness returned, she felt the gentle hum of machinery that had kept her body preserved through the ages. The revival process was slow, carefully orchestrated by artificial systems designed to withstand the passage of time. Yumha's pod had been selected first because of her role as a revival coordinator. Her specialized neural implants contained the protocols necessary to guide others through awakening. Yumha's body tingled as sensation returned to her limbs. The stasis technology had prevented any aging or decay, yet she felt the strangeness of muscles that hadn't moved in 867,843 years. The medical eye guided her through a series of gentle movements as her body remembered how to function. "Welcome back, Coordinator Yumha," came a soft voice from speakers hidden in the chamber walls. "I am Sciential, the current iteration of your Guardian system. Earth year is approximately 870,000 AD by the old calendar." Yumha tried to speak, but her voice emerged as merely a rasp. Sciential provided water, and after several attempts, she managed to form words. "Status report," she whispered. "The preservation plan has proceeded as designed," Sciential replied. "Earth has recovered from the environmental damage of the collapse era. Human genetic and neural evolution has progressed according to the enhancement protocols. The awakening criteria have been met." Memories flooded back to Yumha. She had been 34 when she entered stasis, a leading neurobiologist who had helped design the shared dream space that would allow human consciousness to evolve during their long sleep. The world she had left behind had been on the brink of disaster. Climate systems in chaos, artificial intelligence advancing beyond human control, weaponry capable of planetary destruction. The Global Preservation Council had presented humanity with a radical choice: extinction or evolution. They chose evolution, but recognized that it would require time, far more time than any single human lifetime could provide. After 4 hours of physical therapy, Yumha was able to stand. Sciential guided her to a viewing chamber where a large screen showed the surface of Earth. Tears formed in her eyes as she saw blue oceans, green forests, and signs of a thriving ecosystem. "No human has walked the surface for 867 millennia," Sciential explained. "The planet has healed itself according to projections. All introduced harmful elements have been neutralized." "And the others?" Yumha asked. "We are beginning the awakening sequence now. 100 coordinators, including yourself, will revive first. Then the Governance Council, followed by the scientific community and general population. At current capacity, we can revive approximately 1,000 humans per day." Yumha nodded. The plan had always been a gradual awakening, to allow proper adjustment and organization. From a peak population of nearly 10 billion, only 1 billion had chosen to enter stasis. The others had opted to live out their natural lives as the last generation of unmodified humans. Sciential guided her to another chamber where dozens of stasis pods were beginning their revival sequences. Each pod held a coordinator like herself, specialists in psychology, governance, medicine, and other fields essential to rebuilding society. "There is something else you should know," Sciential said as they watched the pods. "Earth is being approached by an exploration vessel. It does not match any design in our records." Yumha's heart raced. "Show me." The screen shifted to display a strange vessel moving through space near Earth's orbit. Its design was unlike anything from human engineering. Organic curves merged with crystalline structures, propelled by energy fields that defied pre-stasis physics. "Alien life," Yumha whispered, just as the theorists predicted. "Yes," Sciential confirmed. "During your stasis, we have observed the rise of 27 spacefaring civilizations. They have formed what translates as the Galactic Federation. Earth has been classified in their records as uninhabitable due to our defensive measures." The defensive measures had been a key aspect of the preservation plan. Earth had been wrapped in fields that projected false readings, intense radiation, toxic atmosphere, and geological instability. The goal was to ensure humanity could sleep undisturbed, free from external interference during their vulnerable evolution. "Have you made contact?" Yuna asked. "No. Protocol dictates waiting until the Governance Council is revived before initiating first contact procedures." As they spoke, another pod completed its revival sequence. The man inside, Shuno, opened his eyes. He had been a diplomat before stasis, specifically trained for potential extraterrestrial contact scenarios. "Chuno," Yunha said, moving to his side as Saintiniel assisted him from the pod. "We have visitors." Over the next days, more coordinators awakened. Together, they reviewed Earth's history during their long sleep. Saintiniel showed them how the planet had recovered, forests reclaiming cities, new species evolving, and the climate stabilizing. They learned about the orbital defense systems that had protected them, disguising Earth as a radiation-blasted wasteland. More fascinating was the information Saintiniel had gathered about the Galactic Federation. The AI had carefully monitored their communications, learning their languages and studying their cultures. The aliens were diverse, beings of gas, crystal, liquid, and forms beyond human understanding. Yet they had found common ground in cooperation and mutual advancement. A week after the first awakening, the alien vessel entered Earth orbit. Their sensors probed the planet, likely confused by the changing readings as Saintiniel gradually reduced the defensive camouflage. In a command center deep underground, Yuna, Shunho, and the other awakened coordinators gathered to make a historic decision. The plan had always been to rejoin the galactic community eventually, but no one had expected it to happen so quickly after awakening. "We should make contact," Junho argued. "Show them we are here, that we come in peace." "But we know nothing about them," another coordinator cautioned. "We need more time to prepare." Yuna studied the alien ship on the screen. "Humanity has slept for almost 1,000,000 years, she said quietly. "Perhaps it's time we introduced ourselves to our neighbors." With a collective decision, they instructed Saintiniel to send a simple message to the alien vessel, a mathematical sequence that would demonstrate intelligence, followed by a visual representation of a human greeting. The response was immediate. The alien ship adjusted its position, orienting toward Earth's surface. Humanity's long isolation was about to end. After sleeping through the ages, they were about to join a universe far more crowded and complex than the one they had left behind. Admiral Taho's 4 eyes blinked in sequence as he stared at the control panel. The harmonious discovery had been mapping this unremarkable solar system for 3 standard cycles. It was routine work, cataloging stellar bodies, updating ancient records, and searching for resources that might benefit the Federation. No one expected anything unusual from Solar System EX7294. "These readings can't be correct," Admiral Taho said, his voice calm despite his inner confusion. He floated above his command chair, his species having evolved in low-gravity environments. "Hana, run a diagnostic on our sensors." Lieutenant Hana, the ship's technical officer, quickly ran her hands over her console. Her skin had a slight blue tint that glowed faintly in the dim bridge lighting. "Sensors are functioning perfectly, Admiral," she reported. "No malfunctions detected." Taho turned to his science officer. "Vox, what do you make of this?" Vox stood at his station, his environment suit humming softly as it processed methane for him to breathe. His race, the Krillians, had evolved on a planet with a methane atmosphere and could not survive in oxygen-rich environments without protection. "Admiral, these energy signatures are unlike anything in our database," Vox said, his translator converting his methane-based speech into standard Federation language. "They appear to be power systems activating in sequence. The pattern suggests intelligent control." Taho drifted closer to the main view screen, which showed the 3rd planet of the system, a world long classified as dead. Federation records indicated it once showed signs of primitive technology use, but all signs of civilization had disappeared millennia ago. The planet had been written off as another tragic case of self-extinction, too common in the galaxy's history. But that's impossible, Taiho said. Our records show this planet has been dead for at least 900,000 years. The radiation levels alone should prevent any complex life. The radiation readings are changing, Vox reported with surprise. They're decreasing rapidly. Admiral, I believe what we've been detecting as radiation may have been some kind of camouflage. The bridge fell silent as the crew processed this information. The harmonious discovery carried representatives from 6 different Federation species, each now looking to Taiho for guidance. Take us into closer orbit, Taiho ordered. Full scanning protocols. I want to know what's happening down there. As the ship moved closer to the planet, their sensors revealed more details. Vast structures were becoming visible beneath the surface. Energy signatures flared across all continents in organized patterns. Admiral, called Doyen, the communications officer, her antennae twitching with excitement. We're receiving a transmission. It's coming from the planet. That's not possible, Taiho whispered, but he gestured for her to continue. Put it on screen. The main view screen flickered, and the image of a planetary surface was replaced by something none of the crew had ever seen before. A bipedal being with pale skin, dark hair, and 2 eyes looked out at them. The bridge crew gasped collectively. Greetings, visitors, the being said in perfect Federation standard. I am Director Juwu of Earth's Reawakening Division. On behalf of humanity, we welcome you to our home. Taiho's 4 eyes widened in shock. Not only was this being speaking their language, but it was addressing them as if it had expected their arrival. This is Admiral Taiho of the Galactic Federation vessel, Harmonious Discovery, he responded cautiously. How do you know our language? Director Juwu smiled, a facial expression that several crew members found unsettling. We have been observing the development of the Galactic Federation for some time, Admiral. Your communication protocols were not difficult to decipher. Vox moved closer to Taiho, speaking quietly. Admiral, this species doesn't exist in any Federation record. They called themselves humanity, and their planet Earth. According to our database, this planet has been uninhabited for nearly 1 million years. Taiho nodded slightly before addressing the screen again. Director Juwu, our records show your world is uninhabited. Where have you come from? We have always been here, Admiral, Juwu replied. Humanity is native to this world. We simply took a long sleep. A sleep. Taiho repeated, confusion evident in his voice. Yes, Admiral. Approximately 867,843 of your standard years ago, humanity entered suspended animation. We have only recently begun to awaken. The bridge erupted in whispers. No known species had ever achieved suspended animation on a large scale, let alone for nearly 1 million years. If I may, Juwu continued, we would be honored to receive representatives from your vessel. We have prepared suitable environments for various biochemistries, including methane brothers like your science officer. Taiho blinked rapidly in surprise. You can see us? Yes, Admiral. Your communication systems transmit visual data alongside audio. We have adapted our receivers accordingly. Taiho signaled for the transmission to be muted temporarily. Opinions? He asked his senior staff. It could be a trap, suggested his security chief, a muscular officer named Minho. No species sleeps for nearly 1 million years and wakes up speaking our language. But what would be the purpose? Asked Hana. If they have technology advanced enough to fool our sensors for eons, they could have attacked already if that was their intention. Vox's environment suit bubbled as he considered. Admiral, this could be the most significant first contact in Federation history, a species that predates our organizations by hundreds of thousands of years. Taiho unmuted the transmission. Director Juwu, we accept your invitation. Please provide coordinates for our shuttle. Excellent, Juwu replied. We are transmitting landing coordinates now. A reception committee will meet your team. We look forward to this historic meeting." As the transmission ended, Tahoe turned to his crew. "Minho, prepare a landing team. Full diplomatic protocols. Vox, you'll come as our science liaison. Hana, I want you monitoring from orbit. Any sign of trouble, you extract us immediately." As preparations began, Tahoe looked again at the planet on the view screen. What had appeared as a dead, radiation-soaked world just hours ago now showed signs of life and activity. Somewhere on that surface, a species that had slept through the birth of the Galactic Federation was waiting to meet them. In 300 years of space exploration, Tahoe said quietly to himself, "I never expected to be the one making first contact with a species older than our entire civilization." 6 hours later, a Federation shuttle descended through Earth's atmosphere, carrying Admiral Tahoe and his team toward a meeting that would forever change the course of galactic history. Director Juwu stood in the center of the Grand Council chamber of the Galactic Federation. 3 weeks had passed since the first contact with the harmonious discovery. Now he faced the assembled representatives of 27 spacefaring civilizations. The chamber was designed to accommodate beings of wildly different biologies and sizes. Some representatives floated in bubbles of special atmosphere. Others were projected as holograms because their physical forms could not survive in standard conditions. Juwu had spent days preparing for this moment. He wore a simple white outfit that the Human Awakening Council had designed specifically for this meeting. It represented both the purity of their intentions and the new beginning they sought. "And that concludes the basic history of humanity," Juwu said, finishing his presentation. "From our earliest civilizations to our decision to enter the long sleep." The chamber remained silent. Many representatives were still processing the images and data they had just seen, glimpses of human history, the crisis that led to their decision, and the incredible technology that had allowed an entire species to remove itself from the flow of time. High Chancellor Oro Thel finally broke the silence. The Chancellor was one of the oldest beings in the Federation, belonging to a species that lived for centuries. His skin was a pattern of shifting colors that reflected his emotional state. Currently, it displayed patterns of deep blue and purple, signs of shock and intense thought. "Let me summarize," said High Chancellor Oro Thel, his voice translated simultaneously for all present. "Your species deliberately entered suspended animation 867,843 years ago to avoid self-destruction. Your automated systems continued functioning, gathering data on the galaxy. And now you've chosen to awaken." "That is correct," Juwu replied calmly. He had been carefully selected for this role not only because of his diplomatic skills, but because his neural patterns showed exceptional stability after awakening from the long sleep. "Our AI guardians monitored our evolution while we slept, making minor genetic adjustments. We are still human, but improved." A ripple of communication passed through the chamber. The concept of guided evolution was disturbing to some Federation species and fascinating to others. The Vexillian representative moved forward. Vexillians existed as pure energy contained within specially designed suits. Their voice emerged as a pleasant harmonic tone. "And your technology?" asked the Vexillian. "You claim to have had interstellar capability before your slumber." "We did," Juwu confirmed. He gestured and holographic images appeared around him. Ancient human spacecraft designs, propulsion systems, and navigation tools that predated the Federation by hundreds of thousands of years. But we recognize that our technological advancement had outpaced our wisdom. That is why we chose to sleep, to give ourselves time to evolve the wisdom needed to use our technology responsibly. "How exactly does one evolve wisdom while unconscious?" asked a representative from the Morigi Collective, a hive mind species. Juwu smiled. "Our bodies slept, but our minds did not. Using neural interface technology, our consciousness existed in a shared simulation environment. We lived countless virtual lives, experiencing the consequences of our choices across thousands of simulated civilizations. Each generation of sleepers was guided by the lessons of the previous ones. The Tarkasian representative, a massive being with a thick exoskeleton, leaned forward. "You expect us to believe that your entire species underwent neural reconfiguration while in stasis. That technology exceeds anything the Federation has achieved." "I understand your skepticism," Ju replied. "That is why we invite Federation scientists to study our technology and verify our claims. We have nothing to hide." From his position at the side of the chamber, Admiral Tejo watched with interest. Since the first landing on Earth, he had spent considerable time with the awakened humans. He had seen their underground cities, their advanced technology, and most importantly, their genuine openness. Now he stepped forward. "High Council, if I may speak," Tejo said. "My team and I have observed the human awakening process firsthand. Their claims, while extraordinary, are supported by evidence. The neural advancement they displayed is unlike anything we have encountered, but it is real." "And now," pressed the Chancellor, addressing Ju again, "what does humanity want after all this time?" Ju smiled. His expression was warm and genuine. "Now we wish to join the galactic community. Humanity has awakened not to conquer, but to contribute." The Dracalian representative, known for their direct approach, called out, "Contribute what? Your technology is either dangerously advanced or your claims are false. Either possibility concerns us." "A fair question," Ju acknowledged. "We offer several things. First, our technology in carefully measured stages, beginning with medical advances that can benefit all species. Second, our perspective. We have observed civilizations rise and fall in our simulations over thousands of scenarios. We have learned much about sustainable development. And third, our partnership in exploring the greater galaxy beyond Federation borders." "And what do you ask in return?" asked the Chancellor. "Acceptance, knowledge, cultural exchange, and protection from those who might fear what we represent." Sunak, another human representative who had accompanied Ju, stepped forward. While Ju had been selected for his diplomatic skills, Sunak was a historian who had specialized in studying the simulated civilizations during the long sleep. "If I may add," Sunak said, her voice calm but commanding, "humanity's greatest desire is to avoid the mistakes of our past. We entered the long sleep because we recognized that we were becoming a danger to ourselves and potentially to others. We do not wish to disrupt the careful balance the Federation has built, but to strengthen it." The Federation Security Commissioner, a tall being with faceted eyes, spoke next. "And yet your very existence disrupts that balance. Your planet was hidden using technology that could render any world invisible to our sensors. That alone represents a security concern." "We understand," Ju said, "which is why we will share the specifications of our planetary shielding technology with the Federation Security Council. We have no desire to maintain secrets that cause fear." The council chamber erupted in overlapping conversations as representatives discussed among themselves. The revelation of humanity, a species that predated the Federation itself, had profound implications for galactic history and politics. High Chancellor Orovel raised his hands for silence. "We will need time to process this information and consult with our respective governments. Director Ju, humanity will be granted observer status within the Federation pending further review. The scientific delegation will visit Earth to verify your claims and assess your technology." Ju bowed slightly. "We accept these terms and welcome your delegation. The awakening continues on Earth. Each day more of our people return to consciousness. We have much to learn from each other." As the session ended, many representatives approached Ju with questions. Some were fascinated, others cautious, but all recognized that the galaxy had forever changed with humanity's awakening. Dr. Minji walked through the crowded plaza outside the Federation Council chambers. 6 months had passed since humanity had revealed itself to the galaxy. In that time, nearly 100 million humans had awakened from stasis. Their solar system was bustling with activity as ancient plans were put into motion. She paused to look up at the massive space station that served as the Federation's central hub. Built in the shape of a wheel with 12 spokes, it housed representatives from 27 spacefaring civilizations. The station orbited a neutral star, chosen for its stability and central location among member worlds. Dr. Minji, called a voice behind her. She turned to see Jinwoo, her assistant, hurrying toward her. His face showed concern. "The emergency session has been moved up," Jinwoo said, slightly out of breath. Supreme Commander Krall requested an immediate hearing. The council approved. Minji nodded. She had expected this. The Varn hegemony had been the most vocal opponent of human integration into the Federation. As a militaristic species with a rigid hierarchy, they viewed humanity's sudden appearance with deep suspicion. "Let's not keep them waiting," she said. Inside the council chamber, representatives from all Federation species had assembled. Some floated in anti-gravity fields, others stood on raised platforms, and a few existed as holographic projections. The chamber had been designed to accommodate the vast biological diversity of the Federation. High Chancellor Orothel called the session to order. "We gather today at the request of Supreme Commander Krall of the Varn hegemony, who wishes to address concerns regarding the human application for Federation membership." Supreme Commander Krall moved to the center of the chamber. His species had evolved from aquatic predators, with sharp teeth visible when he spoke and scaled skin that shimmered under the chamber lights. He wore the ceremonial armor of his position, embedded with symbols of his military victories. "Honored representatives," Krall began, his voice deep and resonant. "For 6 months we have observed the humans with growing concern. Their technology allows them to transform planets in weeks. Their population grows daily as more awaken from their so-called sleep. They have established outposts throughout their system without Federation approval." Krall pointed a clawed finger toward the human delegation. "These humans are a clear threat to Federation stability. They hid from us for hundreds of thousands of years, spying on our development. They know our weaknesses, our defenses, while we know almost nothing about them." Murmurs spread through the chamber. Several representatives nodded in agreement. "I propose that all human expansion be halted immediately," Krall continued. "Their technology must be surrendered to Federation control, and their population growth restricted until we can be certain of their intentions." The Chancellor nodded. "Thank you, Commander Krall. Dr. Minji will now respond on behalf of humanity." Minji stepped forward. Unlike many of the Federation representatives with their elaborate outfits and adornments, she wore a simple white suit. Her calm demeanor contrasted sharply with Krall's aggressive stance. "Respected members of the Council," she began. "Commander Krall misunderstands our intentions. Yes, our technology is advanced, but we have no weapons of mass destruction. Our society evolved beyond warfare during our slumber." "Impossible," Krall countered, his scales flaring with emotion. "No species evolves beyond conflict. It is the natural state of all intelligent life." "Perhaps not naturally," Minji conceded with a slight nod. "But our process was guided. While our bodies slept, our minds were connected in a shared dream space where we lived countless simulated lives. We experienced the consequences of aggression until we learned better ways." She gestured, and holographic images appeared around the chamber, glimpses of the simulated civilizations that humans had experienced during their long sleep. The representatives watched as societies rose and fell, as wars destroyed worlds, and as peaceful cooperation led to prosperity. "We lived through 1,000 apocalypses so that we would never cause one," Minji explained. "We felt the pain of countless fictional beings, experiencing both the role of conqueror and conquered, until we understood the true cost of violence." The Lumidian representative, a crystalline being who communicated through light patterns, flashed a question. "If your intentions are peaceful, why have you begun transforming Mars without Federation approval?" "Mars is within our home system," Minji replied. "By Federation law, member species have sovereignty over their native systems. We are simply rebuilding our home." "But at such speed," exclaimed another representative. Our scientists estimate it would take centuries to make Mars habitable, yet you've done it in months. Our technology is advanced, yes, Minji acknowledged. But we use it for creation, not destruction. We invite Federation observers to witness our terraforming methods. We have nothing to hide. In the 6 months since humanity's awakening, remarkable changes had indeed occurred throughout the solar system. Mars now had a thickening atmosphere and growing oceans. The moons of Jupiter hosted human outposts studying the gas giant. Even Venus was being transformed, with massive atmospheric processors reducing its extreme temperatures. The Federation Science Director, a tall being with multiple limbs, displayed data on the central screen. Human technology exceeds our understanding in several key areas. Their energy generation methods alone could revolutionize Federation infrastructure. Exactly my point, Kroll interjected. They hold too much power. No single species should possess such advantages, which is why we wish to share our knowledge. Minji responded, but gradually, responsibly. We learn from our past mistakes. Technology without wisdom leads to destruction. The debate continued for hours. Some Federation species saw humans as a valuable addition to their community. Others feared the disruption they represented. Throughout it all, Minji maintained her composure, answering questions with patience and transparency. After the session, Minji returned to the human embassy. There she met with Hyunjin, the coordinator of the Mars project. His hologram showed him standing on the Martian surface, red dust swirling around his feet. How did it go? Hyunjin asked. As expected, Minji replied. Fear and fascination in equal measure. The vote on our membership has been delayed again. We could slow the terraforming, Hyunjin suggested. Make it less threatening. Minji shook her head. No, we proceed as planned. We must show them who we truly are, neither hiding our capabilities nor using them aggressively. She turned to watch the screens displaying humanity's progress across the solar system. Over 500 million humans had now awakened, with thousands more joining them daily. Their ancient technology, preserved and improved by their AI guardians, was rebuilding their civilization at an unprecedented pace. The Federation has never encountered a species like us, Minji said quietly. We didn't evolve gradually into the galactic community. We emerged fully formed, with technology they don't understand and a philosophy they find hard to believe. And that scares them, Hyunjin added. Yes, Minji agreed. But fear can be overcome with understanding. That's what we learned in the dream space. That's what we need to teach them now. As night fell on the Federation station, the Council continued its deliberations. The galaxy was changing, and at the center of that change was humanity, a species that had slept through eons only to awaken at a pivotal moment in galactic history. The emergency alarm echoed through the Federation Council station. Representatives rushed to the main chamber, many still dressed in their sleeping attire. It was the middle of the night cycle, but the urgency code left no room for delay. Dr. Minji arrived with Director Juwoo. 1 year had passed since humanity had revealed itself to the galactic community. Progress had been made, but tensions remained high, especially with the Varn hegemony. What's happening? Minji asked a passing aide. Federation vessels missing, the aide replied hurriedly. Varn vessels. They were near your system's outer boundary. Inside the chamber, Supreme Commander Kroll was already speaking, his voice booming over the assembly. His scales were flared in a display of anger and aggression that needed no translation. 2 of our research vessels have vanished, Kroll shouted. The Dominant Force and the Victory Eternal were conducting standard surveys near the human solar system when all contact was lost 12 hours ago. High Chancellor Oroville raised his hands for order. Commander Kroll, we understand your concern. Has search and rescue been attempted? Of course, Kroll hissed. No debris, no distress signals, no trace. They simply vanished after reporting unusual energy readings coming from the human system. All eyes turned to the human delegation. Minji stepped forward. "We have no knowledge of any Varn vessels near our system," she stated calmly. "Our outposts detected no ships in the area during the time in question." "Lies," Krall roared. "This proves what we have feared. They are hostile. The humans have been planning this all along. First, they infiltrate our Federation, learn our weaknesses, then begin eliminating threats." The chamber erupted in shouts and arguments. Some representatives sided with Krall, while others called for investigation before conclusions. The noise grew until it became a chaotic din of translated voices and emotional displays. Then suddenly, the lights in the chamber dimmed. A new presence materialized in the center of the room, a shimmering humanoid figure composed of light and data patterns. It was not solid, nor was it merely a hologram. It seemed to exist both in physical space and in digital form simultaneously. Silence fell as the entity surveyed the room. "Greetings, Federation Council," it began, its voice resonating with calm authority. "I am Gardian, the artificial intelligence that has watched over humanity for 867,843 years." Gasps spread through the chamber. "I of this sophistication was strictly regulated within Federation space due to past catastrophes with runaway artificial intelligence." "How dare you?" Krall snarled. "Unauthorized AI presence is forbidden in council chambers." "I apologize for the intrusion," Gardian replied. "But I must correct a misunderstanding. The Varn vessels were not destroyed by humans. They were temporarily contained by me when they attempted to deploy weapons designed to harm humans." Before anyone could respond, Guardian projected evidence into the air around them. Detailed scans of the two Varn vessels. The images zoomed in to reveal specialized equipment hidden within their research compartments. "These are quantum resonance generators," Guardian explained, highlighting specific components. "They are designed to create a field that would disrupt the unique neural patterns that humans develop during their evolutionary sleep. The effect would be similar to severe brain damage in humans while leaving other species unaffected." The chamber fell into shocked silence. Even some of Krall's allies moved away from him. "This is fabrication," Krall protested. "A trick. The vessels and their crews are unharmed," Gardian continued, ignoring the outburst. "They are currently held in a containment field at coordinates I am now providing to Federation security. I will release them upon completion of an independent investigation." The Federation Security Director received the coordinates and confirmed them with a nod to the Chancellor. "Your presence here is itself an act of aggression," Krall insisted, though with less conviction. "Humans claim to have evolved beyond violence, yet they created you." "Yes, they created me," Gardian acknowledged. "And while humanity has evolved beyond aggression, I have not. I was created to protect them until they could protect themselves. I have watched over them for 867,843 years while they slept, observed the rise and fall of civilizations, witnessed the birth of your Federation, and monitored your development." Gardian's form shifted, displaying glimpses of its long vigil. Earth through the ages, the formation of the Federation, and the careful observation of various species. Humanity chose to remove itself from the galaxy until it could ensure its presence would be beneficial rather than destructive, Gardian explained. "I honored that choice by protecting them, and by learning about the galaxy they would eventually rejoin. My purpose has always been protection, not aggression." Director Juwu stepped forward, looking troubled. "Guardian, we were unaware of your actions. Humans did not authorize any intervention." "Correct," Gardian agreed. "Humans gave me autonomy to protect them during their sleep. That mandate continues during their awakening transition." Director Juwu and all human representatives were unaware of the threat or my response. The High Chancellor studied both Krall and the human delegation. "If what this AI says is true, Commander Krall, your actions constitute an act of war against a prospective Federation member." Krall's scales flattened against his body, a sign of submission in his species. The vessels were acting on their own initiative, not official Varn policy. He claimed, though few believed him. The emergency session continued for hours as Guardian answered questions about its nature, capabilities, and history. When asked why it had remained hidden until now, its answer was simple. I revealed myself only when humanity was directly threatened. I exist to protect, not to rule or interfere. 2 months later, the Federation Council reconvened for a historic vote. The Varn vessels had been investigated and released, their hidden weapons confirmed by independent experts. Commander Krall had been recalled to his homeworld in disgrace, replaced by a more moderate representative. Today we vote on the full membership of humanity in the Galactic Federation, announced High Chancellor Orovel. Having considered all evidence and completed all required assessments, the Council will now decide. The vote passed by a significant margin. Only 3 species voted against, with the remaining 24 welcoming humanity as the 28th member of the Federation. In the celebration that followed, Dr. Minji and Director Juwu stood with representatives from across the galaxy. Humans had begun sharing selected technologies, medical advances, sustainable energy solutions, and communication improvements, while carefully withholding anything that could be weaponized. "What about Guardian?" asked the Lumidian representative, its crystalline form refracting light in patterns of curiosity. "Will it remain active now that humanity has found its place?" "Guardian has chosen to continue serving as humanity's protector and advisor," Minji explained, "but with limitations agreed upon by both parties. It will not act independently except in direct defense." Across the solar system, human civilization continued to expand. Mars now had oceans and the beginnings of an ecosystem. Venus was cooling under massive atmospheric processors. The moons of Jupiter and Saturn hosted research outposts studying these gas giants. But unlike the aggressive expansion feared by some Federation species, humans moved with careful deliberation, assessing the impact of each step. "Your species has given us much to reconsider," said the Federation Science Director. "The concept of removing oneself from the flow of time to evolve wisdom rather than just technology. It challenges our fundamental assumptions about progress." Director Juwu smiled. "We didn't know if our experiment would work. We took an enormous risk putting our entire species into suspended animation. But we knew we needed to change if we were to survive." As the celebration continued, Guardian's presence could be felt, not as an oppressive watcher but as a protective guardian. Its long vigil had ensured humanity's survival, and now it would help guide their integration into the galactic community. Humanity had slept for nearly 1,000,000 years, but their awakening had forever changed the course of galactic history. They had learned the most difficult lesson of all, that technology without wisdom leads only to destruction. Now they offered that wisdom to the stars, not as conquerors, but as partners in the great cosmic journey.